My colleagues and I gathered this morning as representatives of the Abrahamic religions, and in all of our theologies and diversities of spiritualities, we come to encourage and to be about the business of speaking about justice and mercy in our state and how to make this state more humane and just. Justice must always be tempered with compassion and with human and some divine insight. We come to, first of all, thank the governor for having the courage to declare a moratorium on executions in this state. I know that she did so with some expense of political capital amongst those who see our penal system and our justice system as more concerned with revenge than with redemption and rehabilitation. But we also come to strongly encourage her to continue this process by appointing a nonpartisan review board that would be able to transparently and fairly and thoroughly keep us from the torturous events that we come today to try and prevent. I stand as a representative of a 2,000-year-old institution who in recent decades has shown clearly that most human organizations, ecclesial, political, cultural, cannot investigate themselves. It is onerous to almost impossible. And so we would encourage her to take this fine opportunity to appoint that transparent review board so that we might, if we must execute people, do it at least in the most humane way possible. I also want to strongly encourage us as members of faith. In this state, there are more houses of worship than there are pine trees, more adherents to the Abrahamic religions than there are sand on the beaches of Gulf shores. And so in that context, we have an opportunity now to begin a public and political conversation about capital punishment, about the quality of life, about our justice system and its fairness. And so we gather today to encourage our governor, to encourage all our elected officials, to encourage our citizenry to begin some hard conversations, some necessary conversations about the way that we treat the most vulnerable among us, however we define that vulnerability, and how we treat those we find most reprehensible. The humanity of a society certainly will be judged by the way we treat those two groups. And so given the violence that we have seen in our streets, in our schools, in our houses of worship, in the halls of our largest legislative body, where members elected to legislate for us, to speak to the strongest values of our country, have replaced the symbols of patriotism and their religious traditions with automatic weapons, which represent mass shootings and the death and violence which has plagued our community. Alabama has an opportunity now with this review board and with this cessation of these executions to perhaps lead the country in bringing a greater awareness to these issues of justice, compassion, and criminal justice reform. And so I thank you for coming this morning, and I'm honored to have several other colleagues here who will share their insights.